Well, there's always something extra, isn't there? I noticed when I put the gasket on here, these areas were exposed. So I've cleaned them up and painted them. Now I've got to wait for the paint to dry. And I'm getting a couple of little minor reactions, but that'll be okay. I shall deal with that. So I can't continue assembly of this, but that won't affect you because you'll see me assembling it in the next moment. I can put that race in, I'll get that done. Okay, as you can see, I now have the rotor disc more central. But actually it's not that that's been moved, it's the brake caliper. I have placed a washer, or two, right here on both of the brackets. Now, I don't worry if it was too far, because if it was too far that way, because when I tighten this nut at what ridiculous torque, I can't remember what it is, things are going to move in a little bit more anyway. I did take the shim out of the bracket here, but didn't make a dang bit of difference, did it? Well, it probably did, but not much. I mean, it's where is the shim? It's there. That's the shim there. As you can see, not very thick. So it's just one of those things. You gotta get creative, I guess. So now I've done a kind of a dry fit. I'm going to take it all apart again, put it all back together. I'm going to use Loctite blue on the caliper and locking wire. That should get that sorted. What else have I got to do here? So I'm just trying to think, and that hurts. Oh, I've got to, well, the nut and wash. I can't remember whether I put it in there now, to be honest. Okay, now the washer's in there. I've got to get the nut in there. And do note, I don't know if you can see this, or hopefully you can. If you're peering down through that hole, hopefully you can see the hole in the shaft, which is where the split pin goes, and you put the split pin in through here. It's a real pain in the ass to get to. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I trim my split pin before I try and put it in there, so that I've got enough room to get it in at the angle and then straighten it and then bend the ends over. But I'm not going to do that until this is on the vehicle and I can really put some strain on this to get it up to that lovely little torque setting that it requires. And I can't remember what it is, but I'm sure it's in the hundreds. So that's the next little task once it's on the vehicle. My task now is to take this off, take the rotor off, put the shield on, bolt everything up securely with Loctite. I'm going to use blue again on these, purely because I want to make sure, and I do want to be able to get them off at some point. And that's why I'm going to use blue on this as well. I'm not sure if I'll use Loctite on the nut in there. I shouldn't need to, but then again I shouldn't need it on the others. I'm just trying to be a little bit anal, aren't I? I might. Yeah, do you know what? I think I'll do some blue Loctite on that as well. Okay, let's get it off. Get that put together. Then I will do note grease, because I haven't yet greased the this bearing in here, which I will do. No oil, reminder. So once I've greased, I'll just tear this off here. I've still got the bearing race to put in there. Can't do it at the moment. My wife's having a sleep, and I got to hammer it in and it make a noise, and our bedroom's just the other side of that wall, so I won't be doing that until a bit later. I've got as many shims as I'm probably going to need. Yeah, we are slowly getting there, but at least now I can put that one together. Then I'll dry build this one and see how this is. Once I've dry built this one, then I can complete that. What else do we need to do here? Got my brake line in. Oh, and that bolt there. If anybody's wondering about that brake bolt there, I just put it there because I don't want to lose it. It belongs with this bolt, which is where the rods go, the stabilizing rods or the anti-tramp bars, depending on what you want to call them. Yes, so once I've got this all completed, I'm then going to pump those full of grease. Must admit, I'm thinking that I'm not sure where the paper gasket is meant to go, but I think it should go between this surface and this. And let's make sure I'm not talking out my ass. Yeah. Yeah, and as I'm saying it, I'm thinking maybe it should go on this surface, because on that surface we have this, don't we? And this has got a seal on it, so really that shouldn't leak. Ha 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 ha. Tell you what, Gary, look at the parts manual and see where it shows it, then deal with it. That's what I'll do. Back in a moment. Here are the components ready to go on. On this side, as we have discovered earlier, don't need any shims. There were no shims put on the other side, and I'll show you that in a little moment. I've got my 4 nuts and bolts ready, got the gasket ready, got the seal ready, and got the caliper holder ready. And this is all now cleaned up. I've wiped all the surfaces. I will be putting sealant on this surface, and I will be putting sealant on this surface, and then obviously on this gasket. So let's get on with it. Now, some of this you may not see. First thing I'm going to do is get some sealant on this. Nearly. And I like to feel it. Of course, means I get messy, so I just think this is a good way to do it. Not worried about getting it on the painted surface. The gasket won't actually be going on there. I merely painted it so that it affords it some kind of protection. A little bit more than I actually anticipated there, but what the hell? Not going to lose sleep over it. And where's my gasket? Which goes on thusly. Now let's get some goo, get it on here. Now, is it necessary to put it on here? Probably not. But you know me, I like to try a belt and braces approach. That way, with any luck, I get the minimal amount of leaks. I'm never going to say I won't get any. That would just be too darn cocky. Okay, we're good there. Don't really need a lot. Had a little bit too much on the other bit, but never mind. Now, if I can. Right, let's slip this over. Yes. with a bolt. Okay, now I do actually tell you what, let me get another bolt. It just kind of holds it in place when I'm fucking around. Okay, now we got to put the shield on as well. So many fucking pieces. Don't worry about goo oozing out, or even going round and about. You can deal with that afterwards. Maybe I should have moved these jack stands so that they weren't so much in the way, but there you go. Too late now. And this is only phase 1. And do note all the way these things go. The position of the caliper bracket, the composition of the dust shield. Oh dear. It took me ages to get it right, even on the dry build, which is another good reason to do a dry build. That way you make less mistakes. You still make them. Right. Where is my... Now you see I was well prepared. Let me get my sockets. Oh, I've lost a socket, there it is. Let's see what we can do here. Make sure we get it round the right way. That looks good to me. Just pinching these up initially. Right, now let's crank them up. And I like to do that by hand rather than using a power tool. I can feel it. I always like to feel it. Ooh. There we go. Oopsie. Hang on, got my winch stuck. Come on, bitch. See, told you I should have moved the jack stand out of the way. Oh, prick. Right, that's 2 done. Three and 1 to go. Right, good. So that is now good and tight. A piece of papery towel just to clean up the excess, which is, yeah, kind of, it doesn't matter, it's not going to do any harm, but I'm going to try and be a little neater. Oh, Juanita. Talk amongst yourselves. Be there in a second, and then we will continue. Right. Hopefully. Arf, arf. Ah, this stuff gets everywhere. As long as it's where you want it, that's all that matters. Right. So, next thing to do will be to put on the disc. Okay, let's make sure. And so that we don't tear the seal, I like to just slap a little bit of grease there. It don't do no harm. And don't forget to line up your keyway. And grabbing one's trusty washer. Oh, and I do want to mention that, well, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Hang on a second. No, you can't see it, but I can. Before I put this on, I marked, excuse me, I marked the end of the shaft where the split pin hole is, in other words, the angle it goes at. Now, you can't really get it wrong because the hole lines up with it because of the keyway. But it just gives you, oh yes, okay, I remember now, it's there. Because obviously you've got to line it up when you get the castle nut on there and get the slot in alignment. Once you've torqued it up, and as I've mentioned before, I'm not torquing this up until it's back on the car. That way it gives me a better chance to do it tighter. I'm not sure what the poundage is. I think it's like 150, 160, something like that. Give me a second. I did have it somewhere. Hub axle shaft. It says 304 to 336 Newton meters. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. I can't remember what that is in foot-pounds. I'm sure you want to know what it is in foot-pounds. Newton meters, what did I say it was? Let's go back to it. I said it was 304 to 336. So let's see. Well, 304 Newton meters is 224.8 2 foot-pounds. And if you go up to 336 Newton meters, you're a better man than I am, Gunga Din. That is 247.8 foot-pounds. That's a lot of pressure. So, we'll see. I honestly don't know what I'm going to set it on. It'll be fun doing it. Right, next is to get the caliper on there. But prior to that, I'm just going to zap this up with an air wrench. My air wrench is set low so that I can't, well, there's no way I'm going to achieve the torque setting that it needs, but it'll just get it on there tight. So let me do that, and let me then start doing the caliper. We are now good and sealed. Alright, now comes the tricky bit, and that's getting the caliper on here and getting the washers in place. They're kind of tricky. Do note, although I'm going to be lock wiring this, I am using blue Loctite as a belt and braces job. So wish me luck here. Oh, yeah, we knew this was going to be fun, didn't we? One of the problems I have, which I'm just about to resolve, if I can find the right tool, is that the brake pads are pushing against the rotor, so I need to squeeze them back in a bit out of my way. That will allow me, hopefully, to get that washer in. Hopefully. Yep, and there it is. Get my bolt through the hole. Get that in with finger tight. Good. Now let's blue up the other bolt. And get the other washer in. Might be blocking your view here, sorry if I do. As always, I'm more important than you. If I can't do this, you ain't gonna see it. Ooh, you motherfucker. Oh, that's a little... I don't know if I can do this, hang on. I'm going to try the screwdriver in there. Oh, this couldn't be easy, could it? Did I dry fit this? Yes, I did. Oh, but it was a lot easier. Alright. Let's see, can I do it this way? Oh, this is going to be fun. And this is probably because these rotors aren't machined exactly the same as the originals, because there's no way you would normally have to put these washers in. Give me a second, let me struggle. Right, finally got it in. Now these have to be torqued up to 43 foot-pounds. I've got this bar in here so that I can get a bit of tension. Isn't it lovely? Too loose for the wrench, too tight for your fingers. It's like a woman. Okay, now let's see. Whoa! Hey, you're being turned. Hang on a second, I got that wrong, haven't I, dipshit? There we go, that's better. Okay, that's one done. Two done. Okay, so we are torqued. Okay, next there are two things to do. One is to get the lock wire on here, and two is to adjust the handbrake mechanism. It may or may not need it. You can hear it clicking as it should, but on this side there is a screw, and there is a split pin that goes through the slot of that screw. What you need to do is get the pad adjusted up correctly with that slot aligned so that you can put the split pin in. I will show you that in a minute, but first let's get this lock wire in, shall we? And getting this lock wire in for me is a bit of a pain. Why, you may ask? And if you don't, I want to know why you're not asking. The lock wire pliers I bought are not the best. They're very short, so in order for me to squeeze this up to slide the locking mechanism, it hurts my hands, and sometimes I can't achieve it, and what I have to do is use another pair of pliers to close the pliers. Yeah, I know. Not ideal, but there you go. Now let's get that approximately where I want it. Get these approximately where I want it. And I'm sure there are experts out there who can do this a lot better than I can. But what I do works. As I said, I'm having difficulty squeezing that up. Can't quite get it. I need a little help from my friends. Let me see if I can get them on there. Now you see, you've got to make sure you... this is where it's kind of tricky for me. Now, if you're a stronger person than I am, then you won't have a problem with this. Or if you buy a decent pair of these pliers. Damn it, these bloody things keep adjusting. Oh, I need 6 pair of hands. Right. And that's all it was to get that locking mechanism slid along. And now with these locking pliers, you just pull and it puts in a lovely little twist. There you go. Now I can squeeze them to release them. I've got enough strength for that. Now we have to feed it through this other bolt. Yeah, that's the way. I put it underneath because the bolt will try and undo that way and it'll have to tug against this. Yeah, like it's really going to do that. Yeah. Right, now with any luck, yeah, didn't have any luck, did I? Slipped off. Hello, my name's Slipped Off. A Russian assassin. Or was he Molotov? Molotov. Alright, go get a cocktail. No, not that gay stuff. Now did I get it? Let's see. You get under there. I would have preferred that twisted a little bit further along, but hey, buggers can't be choosers. And that. Chop this off at whatever length you want. I tell you what, it's tough shit this wire. Woo! Or I'm getting weaker. There we go. I'm sure I'm getting weaker. Or even mumper. Okay, that one's done. That's not as pretty as the one I did on the other side. Got to tell you that. See, that one's a lot prettier. Never mind. Right, now, next thing, as I said, is to do that adjustment on that screw. There it is there. And there is a hole, if I can show you. There. See that hole? And the screw is not currently lined up, and the pad is pretty darn close. So what we will do is we will find the screwdriver, we will line that up. Oops, I'm sorry, you're in my hand at the moment, so now I can't see, can I? I can see the light. Right, that screw slot is now lined up and I can get the split pin in there. I will do that and show you once it's done. The parking brake pad, as you can see, is pretty much as close as it gets. These handbrake mechanism is crap. It really is. I mean, when you pull it and you can see the pad goes up against it. What I tend to do, and I will do it with this, is when I'm driving down the road, I'm going to apply the handbrake a few times, and that will get the pads in line with the rotor. It'll just wear this off until they're more or less in line. I don't know any other way to do it but it works for me. Now, what else did I say I got to do? Well, I still got, well, I've got, oh yeah, I've got, do note I've got this on there. I don't even know if you guys saw that earlier. This is my braided brake hose. I've done braided because they're better for pressure. And I will also, on this system, I'm going to be using .5. Right. So I'm just thinking, yeah, that's nice and solid too. Now, that ain't going anywhere. And that's another thing I've got to put on. I have to put on, doing, the handbrake parking mechanism. So that one goes to there, that one goes to there. And when I pull the handbrake lever, it'll do that, and then it'll pull on this. That's something else I will set up. I do still have to pump grease into these shafts. In fact, I think I'll make that my next task. I'm going to get the grease in, and then I can take this part of the label off. And we should be good to go on that. So let me pivot that, get that done. I've got a brake pipe to make up for this side. And that will go, where will it go? It goes from the inside to the top. I'm actually thinking of changing this now. It doesn't matter which way round it goes. Now I've got the brake pipe to bring along here, haven't I? And putting it in there might be awkward. Bringing it around into there. Yeah, because I don't really want to take it over to this side, do I? No, I should put the bleed nipple on this side, on the outside. Is that the best way to do it? Bleed nipple there, brake pipe from here to there, because if I try and put the brake feed into here, this, you know, this is all in the way. So if I bring the brake pipe along here, and just make a nice couple of sets here, that should be okay, shouldn't it? If I do that, what do you think? Brake pipe will come up and over, along. Now you can't go through there. I could go that side. There's a gap there. Or I could come around here. Yeah, it's I'm gonna have to think about that. Not sure how I want to do it. As I said, if I bring it along this side, there is a smooth area there where I can bring it along and then just loop it over here. No, oh, I could loop it underneath, couldn't I? I could come underneath here and up and in. Yeah, because if I come up and over, then I've got to turn again. Whereas here, if I come down, I can do a nice sweep and into there. So move this nipple to the outside, move the crossover pipe to go from here to there. That means that this one here, yeah, I'm going to change this one. Oh, in fact, I tell you what, I can use this pipe on the other side, can't I? This one's already bent, and it's where I need it to be and where I need it to go. All right, let me get on with that. I'll be back. And as you can see right here, the grease is coming out of the bleed hole. Took a lot of grease, I've got to tell you that. Pumped it all in. Notice it's also pushing out some crap, which is good. That was just crap that was in that little hole. A couple more pumps and that will be done, and then I'll do the same on the other side.